Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass because, guys, 34 years ago, I was a dumbass, but today, 34 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. There are a lot of people out there struggling, even with health issues. I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out. I want you to know someone is listening. If you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. My book is now on audio with my voice, guys. Simon & Schuster wanted to put someone else's voice to the audio, and I said absolutely not. My producer, Ruben Rodriguez, part owner of Hamilton Radio and owner of Iron Horse Films, is now doing audiobooks, guys. So if any authors out there want your book done with your voice, reach out to me, okay? And listen, if you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help you. I just want to give a shout out to a couple of my sponsors before I introduce my superstar guest today. First, I have John Bishop, a.k.a. Johnny B., singer-songwriter, host of the Entertainment Luncheon South, a nonprofit network created for the creative. So he's also the partner in the Joey D and Johnny B Rock and Oldies band, and he also goes solo. But I want to give a huge shout-out to him and his wife, Linny. They put on this incredible entertainment luncheon once a month. It's usually the first Tuesday of the month by invite only. It's $20. You get a great lunch and incredible entertainment. We've also had authors there, so maybe my guests. We'll talk. And then Stormin Norman Selden, 732-245-4777, www.storminnormanselden.com, booking dozens of attractions for concerts and performances on venues of all sizes. He's got from a 5 to 12-piece band, and he is a beast on keyboard. And a lot of people don't know this, but he helped get Larry Chance from the Earls back in the day started. Larry was like family. Larry, we all miss and love you, and I know you're singing in heaven with Elvis, baby. So, guys, those are my two special sponsors for today. Now, I would like to introduce my incredible guest, Robert Funaro. Say hello.
Geri Petito, thank you so much for having me on your show. I feel very honored what you do, and God bless you, and amen.
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, I'm the one who's honored, okay? For many reasons. You know, I'm Italian, honey, so I'm very honored to have you here today. And a huge shout out to Carl Marmo. He's the Velvet Teddy Bear. He's an incredible singer. And he met you at the gym. So he's the one who twisted your arm and said, you better call her.
He gave me his card, and it was at the Greenbelt Greenbelt Parks Recreation on Rockland Avenue. Yes.
Very cool. So, all right, everybody. So this guy right here was in The Sopranos, was in The Irishman, but so much more. And that's what he'll be talking about. But he's also the author. I'm also a chef. Okay, so when I saw the book cover with the pizza, I flipped out. So Robert, do me a favor, take the mic, start telling everyone a little bit about yourself. Start with your book.
All right, well, the book was inspired by my manager. Andrew Jedlicker. He asked me to do a book, and I said, "Oh no, not another cookbook by an actor. This is," and I'm not really even a writer. I don't really write. I do some screenplay stuff, structuring and stuff. I dabble in that stuff, but not really have I ever put together anything like a book. So there hasn't been a lot of work going around. If you haven't heard, production is not really, at least on this side, of the country, it hasn't really been what it used to be. So I sit around home and I said, you know what, maybe I could do the book, but I'll bookend it with 8 episodes, and I'll talk about how I became a soprano, my relationship with James Gandolfini, and take 8 episodes, culminating with the members only, which was my biggest episode, my favorite one, although I did end my life there, but it was one that was pretty much remembered for my character, Eugene, that he wanted to get out and go to Florida, Fort Myers. He inherited from a couple million from Victor Borges agents, whatever. And so I said, with the book ends, and I'll talk about 8 episodes. I'll pick them out, and members only, of course, be in the end. That's what I did, and it came out pretty good. And it was like a good way to jot down my family's recipes. The common meals that can feed families of 5 or more, maybe 12 people. Pizza macaronis, Jerry, broccoli and macaroni, the Sunday sauce, chicken palm with the vodka sauce, very good. The crab sauce, which I just made for Easter. My grandson Andreas likes the crab sauce, so I made him a crab sauce. Blue claw crab, and the best blue claw crabs are from New Jersey. Let's get that straight. So, and that's how it came about. And I got the help with James McCusker. He was he kind of spearheaded the book. And well, there's a lot of actors that have writers that write their book. But what happened was, while I was talking about the episodes, I would give it to James, and James would kind of somewhat embroider what I was doing. And I said, no, this can't be that way. It has to be my voice. So you got to leave it alone. Just check the grammar and stuff like that. And you can help me with the structure of it and stuff, and the recipes, of course, that how to structure them. And that's how it came about, Jerry.
I love how you said it had to be your voice. That's what I say. It had to be,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an Italian thing or what, but it just had to.
We have an independent. I think we're very independent, and I think that if it's not our voice and it's embroidered and you add things and you subtract things, it's not coming from the heart.
That's right.
And you want it to come from the heart. So we got the final copy, and I'm very proud of the book, because not only is it a book about recipes and my experience in The Sopranos, it works twofold. I think for actors also, Jerry, that there's a learning curve there, because Sopranos was my first professional job, and I speak about things that happened to me early on in the show and how it culminated in the last episode, how I basically was first, in a way. I landed the role of Ralph Cifaretto, and then the chemistry between me and James wasn't really working, and David Chase said that we're two nice guys, that he needed somebody that was kind of a antagonist, and hence he got Joe Pantaleone, and he's like Joe Pesci, he's like the ultimate antagonist. So Joey got the role, and they kept me on the show, and I don't want to spoil alert, but I'll talk about it in the book. And we go from there. So, but the actors could really learn from it also, because it was really my first professional job on TV. And there's a difference between a TV and play. I did a lot of plays prior.
Okay.
I really came from the stage prior to Sopranos.
Well, I interviewed Paulie from The Godfather. Leave the gun and take the cannolis, right?
Yes.
Well, my brother and my Italian cousins went crazy, and now with you, they're also going crazy. Okay. So, all right. So let me ask you something about food first. Do you have a favorite Italian dish?
Well, I think my favorite dish is the Sunday sauce. Or you want to call it gravy, whatever you call
Right.
it. I took it in the book, I'll eat it. I like the Sunday sauce, a simple Sunday sauce with the ricotta. But I do make a baked ziti, and then I tell you how to prepare a baked ziti, with the disclaimer of, you don't have to make baked ziti. You just make the regular pasta or the pasta of your choice, and you add the ricotta and with the meatballs after we serve the pasta first, then the meatballs, then maybe the chicken in the oven afterward. Those are my favorite. That's my favorite dish. The pasta, the
Okay.
sauce. The sauce is my favorite
Yeah,
dish. Yeah,
of course. So now you grew up in New York, right?
correct.
Um,
Brooklyn, New York, opened up my career and my life career or my life in Brooklyn, New York, Coney Island.
okay. I
Yeah,
grew
Coney
up in
Island.
Long Island City, New York.
All right, we worked in Long Island City with
Yeah.
Silver Cup. Yeah, I love
They
that place.
wait, they have done so many movies in Long Island City by the river and everything, and they were doing one recently as well. I was
Yes.
like, I remember as a kid, we moved out of there when I was 12, but my dad's family is still in Astoria to this day, so I'm a New Yorker, you know?
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I remember all the movies and stuff that they did in Long Island City. It was so cool.
Well, not only did they do the Martin Scorsese is notorious for using Queens
Yep.
as in The Irishman. He used Queens a lot for Philadelphia. So I mean, they like the way that look is there in Long Island City and some of the Queens Boulevard area there.
Amazing.
Basically, Long Island City. When I did the scene with uh, um, I know you do the right thing with the juror Bruce McVitie, who played one of the jurors, and I go into the candy stores with his son. That was shot in Long Island City at a candy store in Long Island City. And I
Wait,
say, no, you do the right
do
thing.
you know where? Do you know where in Long Island City? My aunt owned the candy store forever on
No,
7th Avenue.
there you go.
Oh,
There you go.
I got to find out now because her daughter's still there.
Yeah.
I got to find out. Okay. That would be cool if it was my aunt's candy store. Wow.
Could be. It was a corner. It was a corner store.
It was a
I don't
corner
know.
store.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, let's talk about your life, okay? As an actor, now you're an author, but let's go back a little bit. So you said The Sopranos was the first really big show that you did, correct?
Yeah. In TV and film. Yes.
Yes.
In television. And the Sopranos was shot very much like film.
Okay.
So yes, it was my first professional film job. I mean, I did some independent stuff that was horrible. I'm glad no one really saw that. Although I get a little annoyed when they post it on the IMDb, but you can't take it off, so you got to live with it. But you have to start somewhere. Even De Niro, if you see him
Right.
early on with Brian De Palma in some of the, I'm not comparing myself with Bobby De Niro. I'm just saying that, or some of his early work, you'd say, wow, that's Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
you know, at
No.
Columbia University because he was in the film program there.
Okay.
And De Palma, and so was Scorsese. NYU, whatever. They knew each other.
So now, The Sopranos. I mean, it's been out forever, so most people have seen it. So it's not like we're giving things away. All right. Did you kill yourself?
Yes, yes. That was the big episode where I coupled the Sunday sauce on that episode there. Yes, I was. The thing about that episode, I didn't have any idea. I got a call from David Chase, and usually he would call up at the actors who were going to be shot, killed themselves, and he called me up, and he was good enough to call you. He's a really wonderful man, and he called me up and said, "Bobby, how you doing? I got some great news and some bad news. And what do you want to hear first?" I said, "Well, let me hear the good news. The good news is that Terry wrote this episode called Members Only, and you're throughout the whole episode. You're a big part of this episode. I had no idea that I was going to be such a big part of it. Of course, James gets shot, which I never knew at the end of that episode. But I said, okay, that's great. And prior to that, anyway, then he said, "You want to hear the bad news?" I said, "Sure, you're dead." You're dead. And I didn't have any idea, except when I was given the script. But prior to getting the script, I started hearing rumors from people, other actors in the business. "Hey, Bobby, do you know you're getting a wife on the next show? Do you know that?" And then I read the script. I saw that they're casting my son, my wife, and so I was really, really, really blessed to get that episode. Basically, because up to then, I was known for smashing someone in the head, little Paulie Jr. with a Snapple bottle. And that would have been nice to be remembered by that because people love us Americans. We love the violence. I'm always getting teased. Do me a favor, hold this. That's what I said before I smashed them. But when I read the script, I said, Jerry, this reminds me of what Marlon Brando said with On the Waterfront. He said, that people could identify with Terry Malloy because, and I'm not comparing myself to that genius actor, because everyone feels at one point or another point in their points in their lives they could have been somebody. They could have been a contender. How many stories have you heard
Right. They
growing
could have.
up?
I could have been a contender.
He almost went. He almost got played baseball. He was almost. He was in Class A baseball. He almost got to the major leagues, but something happened. He decided not to. He hurt himself. So this was going through my mind. You know, when I first got the episodes, and what I was saying about Brando is that he said everyone, because they can identify with that, the people of the audience, the American audience, would be able to identify with a man who was given a sum of money and he wants to get out. That's the premise and the concept. We all want to leave our old jobs, but we can't because we're locked in. It's not so easy to leave. Let's say you're a military guy and you're a general and you're in the middle of and you want to get out. You can't just, you can't just leave. You're not a hockey player like James Gandolfini said. So I thought people could really empathize with and the way Terrence Winter wrote it was wonderful, and he added the scene with the drugs and my son, like the walls were closing in on me. I became an informant. Ray Curto was an informer. I found out all the walls closing in on me, and I said, well, I think people are going to really feel bad, and a lot of people do. They come on, he should have let you out. So I know that I did a good job because
Sure.
he should have let you out. So I know that I did my work, and it was a great show to be remembered by that guy who wanted to get out but he couldn't.
I sent your photo to my brother. Okay, and I said, "Do you know this guy? What the hell's wrong? What the hell's wrong with you?" Of course, I know that guy. He goes and he tells me the whole thing. Okay, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "Well, I'm going to be interviewing him." He was like, "That's really cool."
That's
So they
great.
know
That's great.
you. They know you.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I said, that particular episode, people, it stays in their minds that a lot of Americans love to change jobs or just get out from underneath where they get the opportunity, but they just can't do it. The same thing with what you compare it with Malloy, who Terry wanted to be somebody, could have been somebody, could have been a contender.
You
Do you know what
know.
I mean? So
So
it really,
now, The Irishman. Talk a little bit about that. Your role there.
The Irishman. Well, it was the second job I had with Martin Scorsese. I worked on vinyl as you know, um, I was on vinyl, and so I was told by a friend of mine that once you get into Marty's family, it's um, you can be used again. So
Okay.
uh, Ellen Lewis, the casting director, called me in for Johnny Friendly Lounge, and apparently they were using that scene to kind of place people, but I landed that role. And it was great that I worked in vinyl I did about 4 or 5 episodes, even though it was canceled. Marty remembers, Marty's a big guy on family and knowing people. And if you're easy to work with, he'll use you again. And if he likes your work, he's going to use you again. And this is what he does. So um, I was blessed to to land that role, and of course, to work with Robert De Niro was a wonderful thing. Also, it was kind of a dream. It was a dream come true
Yeah.
after seeing him in Taxi Driver and so many Mean Streets, so many great films to be up there with him to talk with him and discuss mutual friends that we had. Maybe one that passed away. My mentor Richard Bright, who played Al Neri in The Godfather, who knew Bobby through his experience on Once Upon a Time in America with Sergio Leone. Um, so, I mean, it was a great experience, and I walked off that set really proud of myself that I did that. I
Amazing.
mean, not many times you really get that feeling, because TV, no one really pats you in the back on film and TV. You do a good job, and no one really says anything. Sometimes they might say I was great, and not all the time. But if no one says anything, you got to please the inside of yourself, basically, Jerry. And
Right.
no one says anything to you, you know it's good.
Okay. Oh, okay. I got that.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so now you've done so much. So hit us with shows that you've been on. Give us like 6 shows that were very important to you.
Well, The Sinner with Jessica Biel, I played her father-in-law. That was a really great series, and that particular um, season, I think it was season one. She was terrific, and it was a wonderful. And because even though I auditioned for Ron Tanner, and they changed my name to Ron Tanetti, it didn't feel so wise guy, and that was a great thing for not to feel so wise guy because we have a tendency to be pigeonholed, and us Italian actors, the soprano actors especially, were very recognizable, and a lot of directors don't like to use us because of that, because they can't. Only the good directors like Martin Scorsese and of course uh, Gladiator and Ridley Scott, they can think outside that box and understand someone's potential. But anyway, that was a good one that I liked. And of course, um, uh, American Gangster was a great experience too with Ridley Scott and Russell Crowe, and to have Russell Crowe come up to you and say, "Hey, I'm Russell Crowe. Hi, I'm Bobby Funaro." It's kind of like surreal. But listen, James Gandolfini told me something early on in my career. He said, if you don't want to really act with Russell Crowe or Denzel Washington and those guys, you should get out of the business right now because you
Oh,
got to really think something of yourself. And it's true. It's true. If you really can't think, oh, that's I'm going to be acting with. I mean, you're going to listen. We're all nervous. Even guys like Denzel, he's nervous too, and so is Russell Crowe. We're all nervous. We get through it because we do multiple takes and or not, and we get through it. We
wait, I have to
so
interrupt you, and I don't like to do that, but Elvis
okay.
Presley was stage fright. Every one of his shows, he would pace back and forth before he got on that stage. And then he was fine. So even Elvis, I mean, I agree with you, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just part of the experience. But you know your lines, you know what you need, you have your intention, uh, and you go for it. And it's when you don't give a shit anymore, Jerry. That's when it really comes out good. You
Okay.
don't care about the fear. You don't care about what others think. You just forget all that. It becomes like if you ever really, yeah, I think the greatest acting is in our sleep when we're sleeping and we're thinking like I'm listening the other day to George Harrison in my dream, and he's playing an electric guitar, but I can't hear it because there's no amps. Of course, you can't hear it. That's the dreams. You can't get out. But I'm really believing so much that I'd love to listen to that song. He's with Paul McCartney, and I can't hear it. I know it's good, but there's such a believability that and actors. I think it's kind of like a reflex that you're so into the role, it's almost becomes reflexive, as if you are dreaming and you're kicking like someone's hurting you. And you ever kick in the bed, or you kick in the bed, or you're protecting yourself in bed as you're dreaming. Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's what it's like. That's the greatest acting, and you're so into it that it just becomes a reflexive experience.
I like the way you described that. So,
Yeah.
wow, okay. So, have you ever had any acting lessons?
Yes, I studied early on. I studied at HB Studio with Herbert Berghoff and a host of people, Frank Gerasi, Kara Wilsonfeld. I never worked with Uta Ogden. I worked with her husband, Herbert Berghoff. And that was my beginning experience. And then just to kind of fast forward, I landed a role in Paul Sorvino's company, had the American Stage Company. He was trying to start a group theater, a national theater in Fort Lee, New Jersey, somewhere, Fort Washington, or somewhere in New Jersey, and at one of the campuses.
Okay.
Um, and um, I landed a role in his company, and I was understudying. And it wasn't the music. I just can't. It was Gary Sandy was in it. I just can't. I can never
That's
remember
okay.
this play. Anyway, this play, Gary Sandy was in it from WKRP, and some well-known actors. Paul had hooks in Hollywood, and he got these actors, the good actors, to get the audience in. And I understudied, and he gave us about two or three performances. The understudies, two or three performances. So after that experience, I felt that hold on, let me just um, I felt that I wasn't really prepared to work on a play, even though I was working at HB Studio
Okay.
for some time because we worked on scenes. I felt like I didn't know where I should be, and we did the performance, but I really was really disheartened by because the training really didn't match the performance. So a good friend of mine from the drama bookstore, David Simmons, and I was kind of living. He had an extra spare room in New York, and he was nice enough to kind of support the art, so to say, and support me in a way that provide that room. He said to me, the drama bookstore, which is still, Lynn Miranda also, he funded the drama bookstore. They were going to go out of business from who wrote Hamilton, of course. He's a great actor, and I saw Hamilton. He's terrific in it, and it's wonderful. He got this money, and he funded the drama bookstore. I don't know what he did. Maybe he bought part of it, but anyway, it's a great place that you went to find plays, and the people there were really the people who sold the books and the like bright librarians. So David Seminin suggested that I take a class with Bobby Lewis from the group theater.
Okay.
Bobby Lewis from the group theater who created the actors, one of the creators of the actor studio with Lee Strasberg, Cheryl Crawford, and Harold Klorman. And Bobby taught Meryl Streep. He taught many, many great actors at Yale. Well, he was doing a private class in his apartment on the east side, on 23rd Street, on the east side. And he said, I know you're confused. I said to David, I can't afford this. I'm going to give you the money because I know you're going to give it to me back one day. I know you're going to get it back. I'm going to get it back. So he provided the money for me. He funded me, and I took about 2 years of Bobby's class. And the thing about Bobby's class is that you started from the first reading, and he kind of pinpointed each rehearsal where you should be at in a theater rehearsal. You're not looking for a finished product, a first reading, conceptual talk, a concept talk to rehearsal. And it was just intention, and it was just enlightening. And then from Bobby's class, I landed A Streetcar Named Desire, the European tour, Scandinavian tour, and guess who was in that? In the hallway when I was auditioning.
Oh, come on.
James Gandolfini was in the hallway, and he looked just like Mitch. He was sweating, and he had the Cole Malden glasses on. I said, "This guy, he's got to be Mitch." And he was Mitch, and I played Stanley Kowalski. And then with that money that I was given Deutsche Marks, I paid back David all the money I owed him, and he was right. He prophesied that I would make it back, and I gave it to him. And that was my training. And of course, from there, I worked with Win Hammond from the American Place Theater, a very beautiful theater, one of the most diamond companies, and Win started the first subscription theater in New York. So it wasn't based on the press, because usually, the press can make and break you. But it was a subscription theater and subscribers, and he can do anything he wanted because they got the money to do it through the subscribers. You bought a subscription and you came, and he did great American plays. Sam Shepard, Chris Walken got to start with Win Hammond.
Oh my gosh, I love him.
So he was with Win Hammond, and he did a play with Win Hammond at the theater, and that's on 45th Street. It's not there anymore. The Roundabout took it over. The Roundabout Theater took it over.
Okay.
But it's not there any longer. Win passed away about 5-6 years ago. But and people will never remember. Not many people, but theater people remember the great shows that were in there. I mean, John Malkovich, States of Shock, and Malkovich came in to do that show about the bombing of Iraq after 9/11 and stuff like that. Well, hold on a second.
Yep.
Lynn, I got to call you back. I'm on a podcast. I'll call you back. All right.
Tell hi.
All right. So that was my training experience, and
That's pretty cool. So I always ask actors because I would have loved to have been an actress, but I can't memorize. So everything I would have done would have been ad-libbed, and that's not going to fly. How do you really remember all that stuff?
well, it's twofold. One, it's repetition. You go home and like Sanford Meisner, who taught Win Hammond, and Win went on to produce the theater and have his own workshop on 57th Street in Carnegie Hall. You got to learn the lines till you're sick of them. Till you're really sick of them. You repeat them. You constantly repeat them. Then, of course, you start in rehearsal in the theater. At least you kind of get an idea of the movements. Make you remember the lines. Your movement,
Oh,
your
cool.
action, your intention.
Yes.
Your intention, like my intention is to speak to your audience and to tell them about my experience. That's my overall intention for everyone to know about the book and my life and my career. And your intention is to kind of to bring it to the surface things that my experiences in life. So that helps too, knowing what you want. And of course, the person in front of you, them giving you resistance. And then by repeating. Now on set, it's a different story. You kind of really got to know them well by repetitively doing them over and over again,
Okay.
Jerry. So you run them and you run them and you run them, and then you just you have to basically forget them and then go for what you want because they run like it's like alternating current.
Okay.
Like Tesla with there was the direct current is just learning them by rote, but alternating current is learning them by rote, but also at the same time knowing at the same time what you need. They work hand in hand with
Okay.
each other. The words are really only words on the page to get what you want, right?
Well, have you ever ad-libbed? Have you ever found yourself all of a sudden something just came out and it worked?
Yeah, those are on Irishman. The last take, which was the take that Marty used, was an improv. We call it improvising. He had said to us, just do a take that don't worry about the line so much, but do one in your own words.
Oh,
Just do one that you
I
feel
like that.
confident. And I used some of the words, but I did add some. He gave me the freedom to add some things like one of the lines was, "Do you see that guy over there with the receding hairline? That was Skinny Razor, Bobby Carnival." I added that line. I didn't get paid for it, but it's all right. But I added a few lines, but you kind of keep to the script, but at the same time, it's like a feeling, yeah. And
Okay.
Scorsese is great for that, and the great directors are good for that. Now, given The Sopranos, that's a different story. You don't really ad lib. We could not add your own lines. You had to go word for word. The writers were sticklers about using their words because a lot of actors, what they do, Jerry, is they use like they improvise lines so they can feel comfortable, and it doesn't work a lot of the time it doesn't work because it's not really what the actor or the character wants. You understand?
Okay.
It's
Okay.
kind of a way of like leaning on like taking a break. When you're running, you're kind of like taking a break, but you're not really moving forward, you're moving backwards. That's the best way to describe it. Do
Okay.
you know what I mean? So there are times when on TV, especially with Sopranos, we had to use word for word. We couldn't
Okay.
change one little word. And granted, it's one of the greatest television shows that ever written. I mean,
Absolutely.
Members only won the episode I was in. I'm just not bragging, but that won an Emmy for best dramatic episode in
Brag
2000.
away. Come on. Yes, brag. Are you kidding? That's amazing.
Yeah,
So, all right. So, who's your favorite actor of all time?
that's that's a tough one. I mean, there's so many great
Yep.
performances. Um, hmm,
You could give
hmm.
me a couple. I mean, you know.
I mean, I think, well, I think Robert De Niro,
Yep.
his early work, Bang the Drum
Yep.
Slowly, that one, and I like Robert Duvall,
Hmm.
and of course, Marlon Brando.
Of course.
He's a great actor. Contemporary actors, John Turturro. I think he's a wonderful actor. Um, I mean, there's so many great actors. Omar Sharif. I don't know if you ever seen this John Frankenheimer film called The Horseman. It's a
No.
wonderful film about a father played by Jack Palance and a son who wants to make a name for himself. The father is very he's a well-to-do, he's royalty. The father and it takes place in Afghanistan,
Okay.
and his son he wants to prove that make his own way
Okay.
and it's a wonderful film about so there's a lot of Toshiro Mifune, the Japanese actor. He's a great actor. So I have many
Yeah.
actors, and of course, Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, come on.
Tom Hulce.
Forget it.
Right.
Amazing.
Tom Hanks. I mean, there's so
Sure.
many Korean actors.
So
They're
many.
good.
So all right, so I have a question about who you haven't met. Who have you always wanted to meet but never got the opportunity?
I mean, Tom Hanks. I'd love to
Okay.
work with Tom Hanks. I think he's one of the greatest actors that we have,
Yep.
who has done such tremendous work, Saving Private Ryan,
Yep.
Forrest Gump, so many terrific roles. Uh, I mean, he would be one of the actors that I'd love to work with.
Okay.
Yes, yeah,
Okay. Very cool.
and also Alan Ritchson from Reacher. I think he's great.
Wait,
Man.
from where?
Look, Jack Reacher. I just watched that series. I mean, Gary Oldman. He was great in Slow House. That'd
Okay.
be a great guy to work with. Also, he was great in that Apple TV series called Slow House.
Okay.
Alan Ritchson, who's from Jack Reacher. I love that. That show's really great. A lot of good actors, but these are guys I'd love to work with. Yeah.
So, do you remember Rodney Allen Rippey?
That
Okay.
sounds familiar.
Well, of
Yeah.
course, I'll tell you who he is. He's a very close friend of mine now. So, he was the little black boy with the big afro doing the hamburger commercials.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when I got to meet him, I've interviewed him a ton of times, and we just did another one recently. I was giggling the whole time. I'm hugging him, going, "But you're still my favorite little boy. You're still my favorite little boy." So, commercials. Have you done any of those?
Yeah, I've done commercials. I did Christopher Columbus on speedboats for Geico.
Okay.
They took it off because the Italian Defamation League said it was against
Oh,
Italians.
come
They
on.
took
All
it
right.
on. So I played one of the mates. I didn't play Christopher Columbus, but I played one of the mates. That was a lot of fun. I did a New York Post commercial, which is really funny. I still have it. It's on DVD. It's the family's talking about the sports and everything, and just happened to. I broke my arm. I broke my arm. I don't know how that happened. It might have been in a fight or something like that. And I had the brace, and I played like the cousin, the weird cousin, and they're talking about sports and tennis and football. And I come up and I say like, "Hey, what about the ice capades?"
Oh my gosh.
It was funny. It was good. It was a
It's
New York
cute.
Post, and they played it. It was a lot of fun. A Grand Theft Auto, I played a role in that. Corrado. So I've done commercials before. Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, I mean those are the memorable ones that I remember, especially the Geico, Christopher Columbus.
Geico, of course. I mean, we loved, back in the day, I mean, the commercials were for the kids the best part of a lot of it, We loved
Yeah,
all those
they were
commercials.
great. Yeah,
Very
sure.
cool. All right, so I'm going to read a poem out of my book now. And the
Okay.
reason why I read this poem when I do actors or singers, anyone, because a lot of people are going to be messaging me, "Oh my gosh, he's amazing. I wish I could act like him," blah, 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 blah. A lot of people question their self worth, okay, Robert? And I want people
Yeah.
to know everyone has something to offer. So even imagine if we didn't have sanitation workers. My cousin and uncle, when I was growing up in Long Island City, they used to come down on the trucks and wave to us. I mean, what would we do without them, right? So they're right up there to me. So I want
Christ talks about that in the Bible, that everyone has worth and self.
there you go.
Talks about the body, and one part of the body having the ears. Each part is very important. So you're right.
There you go. I love that. I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. Wow, thank you for mentioning that. So, anyone out there questioning your self worth or thinking you have nothing to offer, listen to every word of this poem I wrote. It's for you. It's called Utilizing Gifts and Talents. We are born with talents. We are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint, to also write poetry, and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used. God's gift to us, not be abused. We can go far in life for sure, using our gifts to go on tour like this guy's doing. All right? All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them, to even up the score. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, but to spread a peaceful sound. Don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self-destroy. Put your efforts forth. Do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second rate. Never hold them back or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will will cry. Our gifts were made to share, our talents made to soar. Go through life enlightened, and then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. By putting efforts forth, not keeping them at bay, your name, Robert Funaro, baby, will live forever, forever and a day. So go through life excited for what you sure can give. To yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on. So make sure people smile with the breaking dawn. And that's what you're doing. You're making people
Oh, it's beautiful.
smile.
That really is really beautiful, Jerry. It's a
Thank you.
beautiful poem. And really nice prose there. Very good. Thank you so much. It's really an honor to hear someone talk about things like that, because I think we all get caught up in this machine of what really is success. And I think that ambition is good, but people ask me, what's more important, ambition or your family or God, basically? And I say, I don't. It's not really ambition, because at the end of the day, it'll be forgotten. 50 years from now, you make an impact. The impact is what we make, what we do for others. For instance, I have a friend of mine, John. He used to work the ferry. He's retired. I see him at the gym. He saved a few lives. He went to, he was a ferryman. He on the
Okay.
ferry, Staten Island ferry. He put that lifeboat in the water. He grabbed some people out of the water who decided to jump. And to me, look, he changed their lives. He could change so many more generations. Like Christ changed so many more
That's
generations.
right.
He's remembered so through the years of his sacrifice and his humility. So it's very important what you said there, because it's almost like Fellini talks about it in La Strada with Gelsomania, and the fool, Richard Basehart, goes up to her where she feels that she has no worth and she's second fiddle, and he takes a pebble and he says, even this little pebble has importance. A little
See?
pebble. So it's true. It all makes the world go round. I wish there was more love, Jerry, but we only can hope for it and try to make an impact on others so they can move forward. You know,
Wow. Okay, I love you. All
oh,
right.
you too.
No, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You know, you think of all these actors, that play in mafia movies and show, all that, and there's these tough guys, and here you are, and look at how you've expressed yourself today. And that just is
Thank you.
amazing. And God is smiling down at you. You need to know that. And I mean that. It's amazing, beautiful. So, Robert, I'm going to give you the mic. I want you to tell everyone how to get your book. If you want
Okay.
them to reach out on social media, up and coming things, your book signings, I don't want you to forget anything. The mic is yours.
Okay. Well, you can purchase the book paperback, Kindle, and also hardcover. I really like the hardcover on Amazon. Go to Homemade, Robert Funaro, Homemade by Robert Funaro on Amazon and Amazon Prime, and you can order it in three different mediums, so to say. Um, I will be at Barnes& and Noble in Brick, New Jersey, this coming Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Chico and Sons, the greatest hoagie shops near Philadelphia, hero place, the home of the Sopranos. Every Soprano has a special sandwich. Buy a book, get a free hero, get to talk some selfies, and do that with me. It's a great place to visit if you're in Northfield, New Jersey, near Atlantic City. Come down and visit us. I will also be at PaisanCon on in Rutherford. You can look online for PaisanCon, May 9th and 10th, a Friday and Saturday. Me and 8 other Sopranos, Federico Castelluccio, Vincent Curatona, Johnny Sack, Jason Serbone, Jackie April Jr., Dan Grimaldi will be there, Patsy Parisi, Al Sapienza, John Fiore, Gigi Costone. I think, I'm not sure Lorraine Bracco, she was there at the last one, I'm not sure. David Proval will be there. A lot of the Sopranos will be there. So come join us in Rutherford on May 9th and 10th. I also have a film called Critical Acclaim. It's a faith-based movie, Jerry, and it's on Amazon. Critical Acclaim, the movie. Go to Robert Funaro on Amazon. It's $2.99. Check it out. Write a review. It's really a great film about a film director who gets a bad review. What else is new? And he kind of loses it, and he sins, and he does. But and at the end, he finds God, and he finds redemption through God's word. So that's the stuff that I'm doing. Thank you so much, Jerry.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yes.
So the Barnes and Noble, is there only one in that town? You'll
Yeah, I
message
think there's
me.
only one in Brick. There's
All
only
right,
one
or
in
you
Brick.
can
Yeah.
message me the address on Messenger.
Yes.
Okay, because
I'm on Instagram. Message me.
I don't go
On
on Instagram. My daughter
right.
and my grandson set me up on it, but I don't use it.
All right, it's on my Facebook page.
Okay.
And I'll tell you
Oh,
what,
okay.
send me your address. I'll send you my book and you send me your book. I love to read
Well,
it.
forget
We'll
that
switch
part
up.
for right now. What we're going to
Okay.
do is, you have my cell phone number. Now you know
Yeah,
you can trust me. Text me, it's
yes.
you. I want to meet you Sunday.
Okay.
So I will bring
Sometime.
you my book. We're not. I want to meet you Sunday. So I'm going to do
Okay.
everything in my power to
So
get
I'll
my
have my
driver
book
to
for
bring
you.
me
I'll have
there.
my book for you on
Yep, and
Sunday.
I'll have mine for you. I just
Okay.
got a shipment in, so. But
Great.
Robert, is there anything else, even about your career, that you? I don't want you to get off and say, "Oh crap, I forgot to say this." Anything else?
No, I spoke about the film that I'm in
Okay.
on Amazon Prime. I'm really proud of it. Critical acclaim. If people could watch it, and some of my fans out there can watch it and write a review. And apparently, reviews are very important to keeping it on the air.
Yeah.
And there are all different kinds of mediums. Instagram. I mean, a lot of people reaching out to people. Even the president reached out to people on social media. So there's no really one right way. I mean, to find something or a song that you might like, and independent. Even Sean Baker, the Academy Award winner of 5 Academy Awards, had to start somewhere. An independent film. You can watch his early films. He did Honora this year, but his early films are really great films about the human condition, the struggle that immigrants have when they come here, and friendship and stuff like that. So it's not only coming from Hollywood. We have a voice. We can say and we can change people's lives by our writing, our filmmaking, and go ahead and go out there and do it, baby.
I love it. Thank you so much. You have honored me so much. You've honored Hamilton Radio. My producer is
Thank you.
smiling. Okay. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you,
And of
Gene.
course,
Gino.
again, Carl Marmo, love you,
Call.
my teddy bear. So,
Yes, call. Thank you.
so producer, take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.